So our first thing here is it wants us to find the midpoint. Does anybody remember the midpoint formula? You are doing the distance formula, which are closely related. So x1 plus divided by 2. Yes.
Oh my God.
Okay, give me 1 second, hon. And with this formula, all we're going to do is substitute in x1. Remember, x comes in the first coordinate. So 0 plus 4 divided by 2. So I don't have a lot of space on here, but I'll try my best. 0 plus 4 divided by 2, comma, 0 plus negative 2 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 2 divided by 2, negative 1. Okay, and then we are doing the same thing here, but now point A is no longer the origin. So we have negative 7 plus 3 divided by 2, negative 1 plus negative 5 divided by 2. Well, negative 7 plus 3 gives me a negative 4 divided by 2 is? Yep, negative 2. And then you have negative 1 plus negative 5, which is? Negative 6 divided by 2? Negative 3. Nice job remembering this, guys. Okay, so that's this portion. Our next half is just solving for our variable y. So you can do this in two ways. Your first step could either be moving your 1/2 to the other side, multiplying by the reciprocal, or you can distribute it to each of your terms. Which one would you guys prefer? You guys want to distribute it? Okay, so we end up with 25 equals, we have 1/2 times 16. What does that give me? 8 plus 1/2 times y. We're just going to leave it as 1/2 y. Okay, we got to get like terms together. How do we get like terms together? I think I heard it. Subtract your 8 to the other side. What is 25 minus 8? 17. Equals 1/2 y. How do I get that to the other side? We can divide by 1/2, but dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal, so I'm going to write it as 2 over 1 times 2 over 1. What is 17 times 2?
39.
You are close. So do your 7 times 2 first. What's 7? It's going to be 50, not 54. 34. So that's some good mental math. Okay, over here, you want to try it the other way. So the method, first one was distribution. For the second one, let's try it the other method, which would be moving the 1/2 over at the beginning. So dividing by 1/2 is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply each side by 2 over 1. Okay, these would cancel. What's 2 times 26?
2 times 26.
Yep.
52.
52 equals y plus 47. Get my like terms together, minus 47. Y equals, what is 42 minus, or 52 minus 47? What did you say, honey? 5. Yep, nice job. Okay. So we have our definition of a trapezoid. It is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. So one pair of parallel sides. We have different parts. So we have legs. Those are the non-parallel. We have the bases, which are the parallel sides. And there's going to be a median, which is the segment that joins the midpoint of the legs. And then this is how we find that length. So the length of our median one is 1/2. And then you add the other two bases together and you multiply it by that 1/2. And then our property is that the median is going to be parallel to those two bases. Is a trapezoid with congruent legs. What does it mean to be congruent?
Both sides the same.
Yep, so the same measure, right? And the properties is that the lower base angles are congruent and the upper base angles are congruent. Our diagonals are also going to be congruent. The note that goes with this, either the lower base angle is supplementary to either upper base angle. Hopefully you had a chance to draw the parts that we added in. So it says name it. So we name this trapezoid.
It's called a trapezoid.
Yep, trapezoid. And then we name it by our letters. So L, M, N, P. And then we want to name our bases. So which one are our bases?
What an O in?
Yep, LM and PN. And we got that from our definition on the previous page. That's the parallel sides. And then you see your legs are the ones that are not parallel. So those are going to be an MN. Yep, nice job. She's getting it based on the definition. So the parallel sides are going to be your bases, and the non-parallel sides are going to be your legs. And then we have our base angles. Yep, so you have...
I see.
You okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see here, and I should have added a couple more letters. So your base angles, there we have these two as a pair of base angles, and we have these two as a pair of base angles. Jalen, you see that these are the parallel sides?
Yeah.
So that means they're the bases, and the ones that aren't parallel, because they're now a different slant, are going to be your legs. And then our last one is, I didn't name it. I did on my page, I just did it on yours. I named it QR. And that QR is going to be your median. It's what's joining your midpoints. So you see by the congruent segment portions that is going to be your midpoint. Okay, so we see that we want to name our parts. So in the first part, I want you just to name them. So we already said WX is a leg, and TX is a base. Nice job. You are given angle U, but I'd like you to tell me what it is. Angle U, what's the measurement?
78.
Now we're at 78 degrees, and we want to find angle 1. So remember with this,
1 + 1 = 11.
we know there's a relationship here. These are going to be, they're going to be supplementary, right? Because these are parallel lines cut by a transversal. They're inside interior, and those are supplementary. So we know that we have angle 1. This is denoting the angle number, not the name or the amount of degrees. So to find this, we take 180 and we're going to subtract 78. Yeah, nice job. You guys are quick.
102. It's almost the 15.
Okay, and after that, again, this is not a degree measure. Some of you guys add that in your test. When down here it tells you that it's measure of angle 2, that's just telling you the name of it. What is that one going to be? 180 minus
16.
Got 17 problems.
Okay, so we have 180 minus 42, because we know the sum of the interior of a triangle is 180 degrees. When we subtract that 42, you end up with 138. But you see that those are two congruent angles, so you divide by 2, and what amount do you get? 69 degrees. And you see here that these angles are congruent. So what does angle 2 have to be?
32.
And then the measure of angle or side YZ has to be 5, because sides opposite of congruent angles are congruent. So if this is size 5, then this side has to be 5. We see the given information here. You want to find the length of your median, EF. To find that, we have to use the formula we were given, which is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2. So we have 1/2, and then we have our bases as 8 plus 20. So that's going to be 28 here. What is 1/2 of 28?
14.
It's 14. Nice job. Okay, so now we want to go about finding our other angles. So if you know that you have 70 here, and what is the relationship with angle 1? You're close. They're same side interior, which means that they are, means they're supplementary. So we know that angle 1 is going to be 180 minus 70. It's going to be 110. Nice job. If I could draw better, that would be nice. There we go. I'll fix that one so it looks better. Okay, so we have 110. And we want to find the measure of angle 2. Well, we see that this is an isosceles trapezoid. It would have been nice if I would have labeled it, I agree, but we can see it from the picture, but I can also put it on top.
H is a horse.
So we have an isosceles trapezoid happening here. And so what does that mean about angle 2? What do we know about angle 2 if this is an isosceles trapezoid? They're congruent. Base angles for this are going to be congruent. So that means that's also 110. If we are interested in 3, what does angle 3 have to be? Has to be 70 because, again, those base angles are congruent. And we're interested in angle 4. Well, we see that the median here is parallel to our basis and itself forms another trapezoid, right? Still an isosceles trapezoid. So what does this angle have to be?
70.
Has to also be 70. You can see that because of the placement, that now they're corresponding again. Or you can see it through the fact that this is 110, and these are same side interior, so 180 minus 110 will give you that 70. Either one of those is okay. And by that same logic, we want to find angle number 5. So you can see again that they're corresponding in position, or you can go through and see that they are the same side interior. So you have 180 between here. You know that this is 70, so this one has to be 110. Do we have any questions? So we see that we have another isosceles trapezoid, and if we know that FG is 2, that means that EF has to be 2 because we have the median, and so that midpoint of this is F, so we have to have that as 2. We also want to find FM. Well, that's given in our problem. What is FM? 11. And then we want to find EK. EK is that top side. So we don't have a formula that directly solves for that, but we can use the formula we have. So we know if we were looking for FM, it would equal 1/2, and then we'd have the length of our top base and our bottom base. So that would be EK plus GL. So all that is me just substituting in the sides for what we have for our bases. So base 1 and base 2, 1/2 equal that median. So we know the length of FM. What is our length? I'm going to move this up so you guys can see it. What's our length of FM? 11 equals 1/2. And then base 1, which is EK, well, we don't know. That's what we're looking for. EK plus, what is our other base? 14? Okay, we are at that same point as our bell ringers. Do you want to multiply by the reciprocal of 1/2 over to the other side, or do you want to distribute the 1/2? Either way will work. Over the 1/2, so we see that we're going to do 2 over 1 times 2 over 1. That's multiplying by that reciprocal, which is the same thing as dividing by 1/2, which gives me 22 equals EK plus 14. We got to get our like terms together. How do I get the 14 to the other side?
You subtract.
Or I subtract it. That gives me what value for my EK? 22 minus 14?
6.
It's going to be 8. Not the same thing, but I appreciate an effort. Okay, so we see that this is going to be 8. Now we're back to our angles. Well, we know the measure of angle 1, with this being an isosceles trapezoid, is what? So you see that these are the same, the upper base angles. My upper base angles are going to be congruent. So that means this has to be 100. We know that angle 4 and angle the E are going to be supplementary, so that means it has to be 80. So we have 180 minus 100, which gave you 80 degrees. I'll put my degree sign up here. Which means that we know that if this is 80, that means angle 3 also has to be 80. And then we want to figure out, we can do that one next. So angle 5, Monty, what did you say it was? It's 100. You can see that because they're corresponding, or you can see it by the fact that this has formed another isosceles trapezoid, and these are same side interior, which means that they're supplementary. You know that that is 80, so that means 5 has to be 100. And then angle 2 has to be what? Has to be 80 for the same reasoning.